Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
And good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of the Morning Drive here on location today at the Rawls course here at Texas Tech University with Rob Breaux. I'm Chuck Heinz. Brendan Reicher's at the compound this morning, mixing the dials for us today. So we look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. We are mobile today, so our First United Bank studio is on wheels today. So we're looking forward to seeing folks out here today for the Texas Tech Alumni Association and the Alumni Cup, which is a fundraiser for the Texas Tech Alumni Association with proceeds benefiting many programs supported by the Alumni Association, including student scholarships. So it's a 7:30 shotgun start here today. They're going to have a ton of golfers here for a morning flight and an afternoon flight, Rob, and staying alive, that's probably appropriate because the Red Raiders are going to try to stay alive tomorrow as far as taking on North Texas. And that's a 11 a.m. kickoff. We'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage at 7 a.m., so some 25 hours from now, beginning with the Saturday morning quarterback. Are you nervous?
Yeah, you get a little nervous before every game, right? Especially if it's a game like North Texas where you've seen some issues in the past, I would say, if you want to say it that way.
Sure.
But it's been 20 years since you've played them, it feels like. And look, North Texas is a dangerous offense. Texas Tech's defense has not been good, so I think there's natural nervousness there. Mm-hmm. But Joey McGuire is 11-3 at home and 6-1 in bounce-back games after losses at home. So I think he'll have the team ready to play.
I think he'll have them ready to play. And I think for me, I just got to be honest with you, just seeing North Texas coming to town, it makes me nervous.
I mean, you were nervous about North Texas before any of the season started.
When that thing
when
came
everyone
out,
thought you were going 10-2, you were nervous about North Texas.
When we booked that game, I was nervous.
10 years ago, you've been nervous for North Texas.
Anybody that was in the stadium, okay, and bear in mind, I know there's going to be a ton of people that are going to say, God, last time they were here, I was there, kind of deal. Okay, in September of 1999, September the 18th to be exact, and tomorrow's the 14th, 45,824 of us were there for the 21-14 loss to North Texas. And then in the year 2000, some 51 weeks later, Texas Tech beat North Texas 13-7 in front of 36,925. This was Mike Leach's first year and the third home game of 4 against what you would say would be, quote, patsies. You played New Mexico that year. You played Utah State that year. That was a Matt Wells quarterback team. And then North Texas and then Louisiana Lafayette before you opened up what was then going to be Big 12 play at Texas A&M and just got creamed by the Aggies 33-18. So after going 4-0, you quickly suffered your first defeat. But that North Texas game here, thank God for the Coronado graduate Kevin Curtis, because he knocks the ball out of the hand of a receiver. I mean, it was right in front of me on the east side at about the 45-yard line, maybe 40, and then the ball takes this fortuitous bounce and bounces into the hands of Curtis because that was a completed pass. If the ball goes out of bounds, North Texas has the ball at about the Red Raider 40-yard line, and time is winding down. And it is looking like back-to-back problems for the Red Raiders. Now, I realize this is 24 years ago, but I'm still scarred, okay?
Sure, and you have every right to be nervous coming into this game. I mean, North Texas offense has been really good under Eric Morris. You might be familiar with Eric Morris, the elf, as people call him.
Or the angry elf.
The angry elf. He had a mustache. He shaved it off.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, he shaved off the mustache. Doesn't look as cool, but he had a cool stash working. But this offense is good. Now, their defense is not as good, but neither is yours. So It's going to be a high-flying affair, I fear.
Coach Joey McGuire on Red Raider football with Joey McGuire last night basically said, he said, every coach says this, that it's hard playing here. He goes, I need you there at 11 a.m. And apparently, his buddies with, Matt Rule, the Nebraska coach and the former Baylor coach. He worked for him at Baylor. But he called those 11 a.m. games kegs and eggs. So he said, get your kegs and eggs. Now, I'd like a little bacon or sausage in there with that, But kegs and eggs sounds a lot, it rhymes. It works.
That's true. And it is 11 a.m. this weekend. And I believe Nebraska plays at 11 a.m. too. So
anyway,
Rule and Joey both getting their kegs and eggs out.
Now, here's the big question. Is Tahj Brooks going to play tomorrow?
I have no knowledge of that, but I would assume he does.
Because that makes a big difference for this Red Raider offense.
Huge difference. And I don't know if it makes as much of a difference just physically. I know Tahj is a great player, but mentally, it just felt like they called the game differently last year because they didn't have Tahj Brooks on first and second down.
Last week, you mean?
This week.
Last week.
State.
Yeah, against last week.
Yeah,
you said last year, but that's okay.
Oh, last week.
That's all right. It's your first mistake today.
Do I get 3 strikes?
No, you get. Man, I'm going to make 72.
Okay,
so you cannot get above me.
All right.
The other thing about Tahj is his pass blocking. We saw the missing of that last week. When you talk about calling the game different, I mean that 4th and 1 play. He picks up that block because he's a senior, right? He picks up that block, and so you get that first down, and you're not immediately giving up a 43-yard run. And I don't want to do the whole ifs and buts and candy and that kind of thing, but the other thing is that you'll see more play action with Tahj Brooks, and that will keep that defense off guard a little bit.
Yeah, he changes the entire game plan, and even if he's not 100%. If he's not carrying it 30 times, if he carries it 10 times, 15 times, he's still a threat. And he's still out there, and you're talking about the play-action game and the threat of the run. It really is important for this team to have Tahj Brooks healthy.
One of the things that Coach McGuire said last night, and get your take on that here in just a moment, is that he felt like that Baron Morton pressed a little bit by not having Tahj, feeling like that he had to do a little bit more, whether that was implied or just he took it upon himself. But, at some point in time, you just, it's like anything. Do your job and don't worry about the guy next to you. You got to trust the guy next to you is going to do his, right?
Yeah, you can call a 3rd and 13 outside zone and he could score a touchdown. And then the next week you can call a 4th and 1, great play to the outside and get stuffed because Tahj isn't there.
Just getting started this morning here. We're on location at the Rawls course today. If you're playing golf with the Texas Tech Alumni Association, come by, say hi, shake a hand. Would love to see you today here at the Rawls course. It is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, good morning. It is 7:02 this morning here on the Morning Drive with Rob Breaux and Brendan Riker. I'm Chuck Heinz. Come to you this morning from the First United Bank Double T 97.3 mobile studio. We are on location today at the Rawls course as the Texas Tech Alumni Association is spreading their banners far and wide today for the betterment of everyone and hopefully raising some money for scholarships and just the funding that they do with regard to Texas Tech and help make this a better place to go to school and a better place to live and all those kinds of things. So if you're coming out here today, come out here to have fun and play a little golf and some camaraderie. And if you get out here right now, I mean, the sun that's up is just absolutely gorgeous. The Alumni Association serves nearly 30,000 fellow Red Raiders who are members. Your membership can cost just as low as $100, and you can be a part of things like the 1923 Society or just going to the Frazier Alumni Pavilion, easy peasy, before the ball game tomorrow. It's an 11 o'clock kick. Look forward to seeing you there. We'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage beginning 24 hours from now, from the Fraser Alumni Pavilion, just a few steps from the southwest corner of Jones Stadium. The stadium's getting closer and closer to us
It is.
as they build that thing out, and it's exciting to see what's been done. Take your thoughts, comments, score predictions on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Okay, a couple of scores here. Man, it's a bunch of negative Nancy's this morning. 38-28 UNT, 31-27 UNT. Jordan says this, dang, my boy Chuck is always getting poked and pressed on in the morning. I'm
You're
battered,
a bit of a punching bag.
Battered. I am a bit of a punching bag. Some of it I bring on myself. Some of it is imposed on by my, quote, colleagues, you know. I feel like that I've been, you know, I'm just hung up and, you know, shot at every single day, Rob. Good morning, Rob. Love you. I will be eating a hot dog for lunch and thinking of you. Also, tech by 30 tomorrow. That from Big Hen.
Yeah, that's a great finish to that text, but you don't have to think of me while you eat your hot dog, buddy.
Yeah, right.
You can think of anything else.
Yeah. We get this from Scott. The Texas State versus Arizona State game last night was good game, 31-28. Arizona State, our first Big 12 opponent. Tech will not have as easy a time as originally expected. 3-9 seasons back-to-back, but second-year coach has them going at 3-0. Quarterback, big, strong running back, good receiver group. Depending on the North Texas game tomorrow, ASU may be favored coming into that game. That's a pretty good scouting report right there.
Yeah, they were favored going into Texas State. I think that game closed, though, as the Texas State favorite in San Marcos. They won by 3. But, yeah, if you lose to North Texas, they'll absolutely be favored here. And a lot of those games will flip. That before the season, you're probably going to be favored in most of your home games. And if you lose to North Texas and struggle against Arizona State or lose there, you're flipped.
Yeah.
And you're in for a long season.
One thing that Joey McGuire said yesterday on Red Raider Football with Joey McGuire, he talked about can't let the players feel the stress, you know, of what's kind of transpired here to start the season. You know, he pointed out that they're 127th in penalties. But he said two things, and he said they got to understand we got to fix that. But he said two things. One, these things are self-inflicted, and two, it's fixable.
Yeah, and you haven't been heavily penalized in the first 2 seasons. So I do think it was a bit of a blip. I think that can be corrected. Mm-hmm. And these pre-snap penalties, they hurt so much in the course of a game. You have to be better at that. And that's something that Joey understands. And it's not new for Joey McGuire. He's been coaching football for a long time. And they had some official out there working on it. Somebody texted earlier that they'd never heard that before. It's fairly common to have officials at your practice. They just don't talk about it a lot. But that is a fairly common thing, especially in the off season and the spring.
And the fall camp, too.
The fall camp, you're getting officials out there for your scrimmages and whatnot. It might be a little unconventional to do it, like, not in a bye week. But anything helps, and it just is a little bit, I don't know if comforting is the word, but they're working on it.
Well, he pointed out that Brad Rogers, who's an NFL white hat, was out there Tuesday through Thursday. He said there was a Big 12 official who doesn't officiate Texas Tech games, was out there this week. He said the goal is he said it feels like that helps their players, helps educate them. One of the things that they're really just trying to figure out the pre-snap penalty stuff. And, you know, they talked about, you know, the center needing to make his calls sooner. And so that probably will be something that will help with that quite a bit this week. He also said that the ACU game probably would have been a 14 to 21 point victory without the pre-snap penalties.
Chuck, let me ask you this. If you have 20 seconds play to play, not in between plays, from play to play, how in the world are you supposed to make calls quicker?
I think the problem is that he was still making calls as Baron Morton's calling for the ball.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe if there's 25 seconds between each play or 30, maybe you have time to make those calls and not jump.
Oh, so what you're saying is that we're rushing up to the line of scrimmage too fast?
Yeah, with the center who's never played at the college level.
Yeah.
Maybe you let the D1 rookie, who's a sophomore or third-year player, have some
Sheridan
time.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's you don't have an old grizzled veteran playing center right now.
It's kind of like when you're ordering at the restaurant, and everybody else is ordered around the table, and the waitress is looking at you, and you're like, and I keep changing my order. Then I would be a terrible center because I'll have the chicken fried steak. No, let me give me the grilled chicken. No, I'll do pizza. No, I'll tell you what, just give me a salad.
And Barron's the guy who knows what he wants and has been there before rushing you.
Right.
And Barron loves tempo.
Right.
And Kinley loves tempo.
Right. And I'm killing the tempo at the table.
Does the offensive line love tempo?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get it figured out. Hopefully they did some work on that this week.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Now time for Jamie's question of the day.
Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, that someone is Rob Breaux.
All right, my question for you today, Chuck, and the listening audience, Brennan, if you want to chime in. Is college football better when brands like Nebraska are good? You see the rise of Nebraska there with Rule and Raiola. You've seen some teams that are maybe labeled as blue bloods, like Texas, have bad decades, but they're much better now. Florida is down. Is college football better when great brands are great?
I don't care. Okay? Because I don't care. I mean, I'm not one of these root for the conference guys. I root for two schools in this conference. I root for Texas Tech and I root for KU, okay? I couldn't care less if anybody other than those two schools had success. It's not going to – I'll just put it to this way. It's not going to make me watch any more football if Nebraska or USC or Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State or, God forbid, Oklahoma or Texas, A&M, any of those schools. I'm probably a terrible person to ask this because when it comes to college football, I really just watch those two teams that I talked about. Very rarely will I watch a college game over an NFL game. I watched the Arizona State game last night because we're playing them next week, and I wanted to see what they looked like. And then the Dolphin game got out of hand. So I'd rather go to a college game. I'd rather watch an NFL game on TV. So for me, no, I couldn't care less about whether a brand is good or not.
I just feel like Nebraska being back is good for college football.
How can you say that? They have not been relevant for 30 years.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
They're back, baby.
Yeah, but college football was just fine when Nebraska wasn't good for the past 30 years as
college
well.
Football is just fine without Nebraska being, elite, okay? With all due respect to the head coach's son, okay? Now, you should know that I have a major axe to grind with Tom Osborne that I have not ever overcome. I finally kind of overcame it when Leach beat the bejesus out of him.
Yeah.
Okay?
A couple times.
But the one here was especially delicious.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
I'd also say that, there's a lot of great football outside of the blue bloods. I mean, there's over 130 teams that compete at the FBS level and a lot of Division II, small FCS, Division III, whatever you want. There's good football all around to watch and enjoy that everyone can take in that doesn't have to involve a blue blood program or even a Power 4 matchup. I
think the texture has a great point because I was thinking about this as I went on my little rant. Chuck, how would you answer the same question if it was about college basketball? Do you prefer it when the Blue Bloods are good? Yes, and I think that's because of the tournament. And I think maybe my opinion will change about college football as the 12-team playoff gets developed and we kind of see how that goes through and it goes into 16 teams. I don't think it'll get beyond 16. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I wouldn't have a problem if they got rid of every one of these trash bowl games, okay? And we just did
a huge playoff.
A huge playoff, right? And you could associate these trash bowl games with the playoff. But I think it's going to be awesome when you have these home playoff games at fill-in-the-blank stadium. I think that's going to change the dynamic because I think college football, to me, my problem with college football has always been it's ended with a thud. It's ended with a thud. It's ended with nobody cares about the bowl games because there's really nothing there. I mean, I love going to the bowl games. I love the pageantry. I love the bowl flavor. I love all that. But at some point in time, it just doesn't mean as much because you're really not playing for anything. You're playing for, a trophy, and you're playing in nice weather. But it used to be like it really meant something if you went to the Cotton Bowl. It really meant something if you went to the It really meant something if you went to the Sugar. It really meant something if you went to the Rose because it meant you won your conference, all right? And that's the best that you could do is to get to the Cotton or the Rose or the Orange or the Sugar or the Fiesta. But now it really doesn't matter. You follow me?
Yeah.
But I think these home playoff games are going to be awesome. And I think that as this 12-team playoff develops, that we will start to see a turn where, I'd really rather have the blue bloods of football be good. I don't consider Nebraska a blue blood anymore.
I know the common man doesn't really care, but ESPN is lining their pockets with Nebraska playing some big brand.
No.
They are. They want it. I'm telling you.
Here's what I think is going to happen to the bowl games, because ESPN owns the majority of them. At some point in time, the economics is going to flip where they just can't afford to do those games because they can't afford the payout, and the payout versus the eyeballs and the advertising, it's going to flip. And when that happens, you're going to see more of these bowl games go out of business, and you're going to see the playoff continue to expand. Because I think waiting 6 weeks for a game is crazy.
It is.
I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever, and it's been the dumbest thing ever because your season ends basically Thanksgiving weekend, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to wait until Christmas to play another game. Man, that's archaic. Nobody, and that's why it's never the denouement for college football is not okay. That's like there's no exciting ending like a Super Bowl or a Final Four or a College World Series of baseball or anything. It's like you meet someone, you go home with them, and then you pass out. Okay, and you don't get finished. Okay.
That allegory was going really well until the end there. Kind of like college football season. I especially when there's a blowout at the end.
With me.
Especially when there's a blowout at the end. I do agree.
Okay.
It just runs out of steam.
Yes.
It takes too long.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Robert says this, I have not missed the Corn Busters. No, I haven't either. And Robert, guess what? I haven't missed Notre Dame either, okay? I haven't missed Notre Dame either. And do you really want Urban Meyer to be your next coach? That ain't going to happen, is it?
No, he said he'd coach Michigan for $25 a year, though. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Urban Meyer said he'd coach Michigan for $25
He might be the next coach of Florida.
Bring him home.
If Billy Napier doesn't win this weekend, is he out?
He's out. I don't know if it's this weekend, but maybe they let him coach against UCF, and if UCF beats him, he's out. He's not lasting the whole season, though.
7. I just got a wow on my phone. Hey, that's why you listen. You never know what you're going to hear.
Big plays and even bigger laughs. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, good morning. We are on location today, Rob Breaux and I. I'm Chuck Heinz. We're here from the Rawls course, so the First United Bank studio is mobile today. Look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open as well. We're celebrating the Texas Tech Alumni Association Alumni Cup today. And you can join the Alumni Association for as little as $100, or you can give $1,000. And the way that they work this out is, Texas Tech was formed in 1923. So they're thinking about kind of the marketing aspect of thing. Kurt Langford, the head Daddy Rabbit now, took $1,000 and divided it by 52, and you know what you get?
What do you get?
Okay, come on. You've been awake longer. You've been awake long enough to get this. You take $1,000 and you divide it by 52. What does that equal per week? Take a wild guess. What year was Texas Tech established?
27.
No. What year was Texas Tech established? What year? I just said it.
1923.
Yeah. So okay, take 1,000 and divide it by 52. What do you get?
$23.
No, $19.23. There's a reason why you're in this business. What are we doing? I tried.
I didn't know I was going to be doing math equations.
I know, but I tried to set you up as easily as I could. This is an epic fail.
They're going to know I'm dumb, Chuck.
No, you're not. You're not any dumber than I am. Although some might dispute that. So anyway, you can get involved in that. They have great programs, and it's always great to be a part of and support the Alumni Association here at Texas Tech. They do great things with scholarships and helping folks out and just collecting everybody together and kind of keeping everybody under the same umbrella, so to speak. All right, Texas Tech and North Texas tomorrow. Here's the question. The question is Tahj Brooks going to play? And then the other question is what? The other question is what? What's the other question that people want to know tomorrow in terms of who's going to play or who's going to play more or who's going to get Micah Hudson? That's the answer, okay?
I was more worried about Braylon Lux and C.J. Baskerville and some of these defenders. The fans are very, very worried about Micah Hudson, yes.
For whatever reason. But Coach McGuire did say yesterday on Red River Football with Joey McGuire, yes, on Micah Hudson, he has had a good week of practice. A lot of production coming out of the receiver group. But mentioned that he has had a substantial number of yards on the GPS this week. He said like 7,000 per practice on the GPS. Okay, so apparently he's getting on the field quite a bit. So maybe really to me the whole thing about Micah Hudson has been, okay, first of all, he's a freshman. Second of all, he missed all of spring. This, quote, minor knee surgery that he had, okay, the only person that has minor surgery is everybody but the person having surgery.
Right.
And, look, anytime you have your knee worked on or tweaked or looked at or scoped or whatever, you don't know until you get out there. And, one, you take that first hit. And, two, it doesn't take much for it to go wonky on you. And then missing a lot of fall camp. So, I mean, it's a what do we always talk about? Well, boy, Baron Morton and so-and-so are fill in the name of the quarterback. Hey, they spent all summer long doing routes together. Well, if you don't do routes with somebody, then your confidence level is not very high, right? And then second of all, you get in these ball games, you think you're going to have a cupcake against, Abilene Christian. It turns out you're playing, Penn State, for God's sake, and then you lose to Washington State. Hard to get a guy a lot of reps that is trying to do a little on-the-job training.
Yeah, when Joe McGuire in the offseason is saying he's going to make an impact week one, Joe McGuire in the back of his mind saying we're playing ACU, he's going to get a ton of reps in the second half. And it just did not work out that way.
Right.
But, yeah, and you look around the country, and there are other five-star wide receivers that are being competitive at Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama. But those programs get 5 stars every year and know how to work them in. And I don't believe they had knee surgery this offseason.
Which is, I think, the most critical thing of everything.
I'm not worried about Micah Hudson in the slightest. I've got a story I'm writing currently on WT973.com about Micah Hudson and some of the production of other 5-star wide receivers and how they all have 8 or 9 catches, but Micah Hudson has 1. Is that a huge difference? Is he way far behind? I did think it was interesting after the consternation after the ACU game where he gets 4 snaps and no targets. The very first play of the game for Washington State looked like a designed play for Micah Hudson.
Okay.
that was covered, and Barry Morton ran for 7 yards. And I think on the third or fourth drive of the game, you get him a target. So they're trying, and maybe they try more in week 3, 4, 5, and he finally breaks out and has a big game, and nobody's worried anymore. But
are you worried?
Then,
no, I'm not worried.
No,
and you know, here's my philosophy, and this would not make me a good Division I head football or basketball coach. Because my philosophy is, if you don't want to be here, do us all a favor and leave. Because the worst thing you can have is a disgruntled employee, disgruntled spouse, disgruntled, football player, basketball player, because all that poison just spreads throughout your whole, whether it's your house or your work or your locker room or whatever. So it's like, do us all a favor and leave.
Yeah. And you're not trying to run out a 5-star wide receiver in week 3. Obviously, you're just pontificating on the state of college football today.
Yeah.
But, I just am not worried. And if there are a mass of transfers after the season, I would be more worried. If there's just 1 or 2, I would not be as worried. If he's one of them and there's just one, it is what it is. But I just don't think you're to that point. And the social media stuff, I just don't buy into that. People do weird stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And if he's deleting photos and uploading different photos and changing his bio, he's 18.
Right.
Like, I was weird at 18 on social media and when it was just being invented.
Mm-hmm.
I'm weird now on social media, and I'm 35. So I don't buy into this is a major thing because of what's happening.
Coach Joey McGuire also said last night, and I'm curious if we'll know if they run this play and then what it looks like. He said they have a play named after Eric Morris.
They did the ninja last week, and they did the ninja formation for Mike Leach. I would not be surprised to see some Wes Welker stuff in this game if you're working the slot.
Wes will be here. He'll be here later today.
That's what I'm saying.
Going into the Ring of Honor tomorrow.
If they have the Eric Morris play, I guarantee you they'll call it tomorrow and tell you about it in the postgame.
Especially if they win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, probably only if they win. They're probably not going to mention it if they lose by 10.
Right. There'll be other things that'll be mentioned, right?
Yeah.
God help us, right? God help us. Ponch and John report that apparently they're on the South Loop, so be careful. Somebody says this Breaux on top of his game. Somebody says this. Rob just struck out 5 times and won at bat.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
I think we've been very entertaining this morning. I'm not sure we've been very accurate, but that's, again, the goal here is not always accurate, not always fair. Just try to be entertaining. That's the whole goal. I think we've accomplished the entertaining aspect of it. I don't know if we've been fair or not. Probably not. Let's see here. Yates Flooring Center chat line. Sooner in Lubbock says this. Sorry, Chuck, but I think UNLV wins tonight. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I'm going to Lion King tonight with the Phenoms and their parents and the lucky lady. So we got that. We got that tonight. Got Tech Talk on location this afternoon at the Overton Hotel and Conference Center. After the ball game on Saturday, Rob will be hosting the Double T 97.3 Coors Light postgame show. And I'll have some Coors Light trinkets for you. I got a cooler. I got a really nice cooler.
I saw that this
really
week,
nice cooler.
Weekend.
Got some hats. Got some koozies. This is very chauvinistic of me or sexist of me, but sometimes the prettier you are, the more likely you are to win. Okay.
I was about to ask for a hat, but I don't think I can get on your level there.
I'm gonna score you a hat. Last year, I said that to these two couples, and I said to the wives, I said, "Hey, you're lucky you're here because if I only give this to pretty people, and the guys just aren't pretty enough." And they took what I gave them and they came back to me and said, the guys were offended by that. I go, "What are you talking about?" They go, you hurt their feelings. I hurt their feelings. Bunch of wusses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hurt their feelings. So anyway, that's okay. So I do this.
They want you to apologize.
I said I told him I'm not gonna apologize. I do this with Jamie and it drives him crazy. So I'll do it with you because I don't think it'll drive you crazy. And if it does, you know what? I don't care. Uniform tracker. The Texas Tech goes into great detail to do this. Tomorrow they're wearing black helmets, red jerseys, and white pants. And when they use the black, red, white combination, they've only done it 4 times. They're undefeated 4-0.
So this is since, what is this, since 2000 they do this tracker?
2002.
2002, okay. So since they switched to Nike from Big Time, I think they should have an Adidas tracker, an Under Armour tracker, a Nike tracker.
Oh my God!
I mean, I think we need to start fresh here. We're 0-0 with this combo because it's Adidas, and we haven't worn Adidas since 2002.
Okay.
We're 0-0 or 0-1 in the white. We're 1-0 in the black, black. But we're starting fresh here with Adidas.
Okay.
But 4-0 does sound good. So maybe we keep the 4-0 and continue that
here.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can. Now, here's the other thing, and again, none of this really matters, but it matters to me.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So therefore, it should matter to you, Rob. I had it right here. History. On that. Okay. On September the 14th, the Red Raiders are 3-2 on September the 14th. The last time you played on September the 14th was 2019, lost at Arizona 28-14.
Oh, woof, that game.
Beat Ole Miss 42-28 in 2002.
Shout out to Cliff.
Okay.
Eli.
Lost to Oregon in 91, 28-13.
Okay.
Won at Tulsa in 85 and 21-17, and beat Iowa State in 1974, 24-3. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Speaking of Iowa State, Coach McGuire talked about this yesterday, and Coach Tim DeRuyter talked about this as well, that the defense that you'll see tomorrow is much like Iowa State's because the defensive coordinator came from there. And so they'll have an odd man front. They'll throw a bunch of stuff at them. Is that good or bad for Baron Morton?
Yeah, so this guy did coach at Iowa State, but the brains, Heacock still at Iowa State. And then the Broyles Award winner, the other great assistant from Iowa State's now at Cincinnati. So I think if you're just looking at this Cloud 3 or whatever they call it, this vaunted defense that Iowa State runs here in the Big 12.
Cloud defense.
I would be more worried about Cincinnati running it and Iowa State running it than I am with North Texas.
Okay.
But it is year 2 of the system for them, so maybe they get it together.
Who's likely to have a breakout game for you tomorrow?
Micah Hudson. No, I think, Josh Kelly probably has already broken out. I don't think you could say Tahj Brooks either, even if he plays, through or after the injury. Defensively, I think you're looking for these linebackers. The defensive line, if one of these defensive linemen could break out and get a couple sacks, I think that'd be awesome. Amir Washington or Duda Banks. Caleb Douglas getting a couple deep balls. He missed one. Well, he didn't miss it. Baron Morton missed one deep for Caleb Douglas. I think that'd be another guy.
We need the defensive line to put some pressure on their quarterback.
You have to. And look, Chandler Morris was named the starter twice at TCU. Once over Max Duggan, who'd started previously, and then obviously Max Duggan came in and finished that season, from week 1. And then he was named starter over Josh Hoover, and Josh Hoover, through some injuries and otherwise, kind of won the job again from Morris last year. So this is a competent Big 12 quarterback that's going to play for North Texas. He's got 1 billion yards already this year, and you have to help your secondary out. You have to. One of the best ways to defend the pass is not just breaking up passes, it's getting to the quarterback, affecting the throw. You don't have to have 10 sacks, but pressures, hurries, affecting the pocket, all of that is incredibly important, especially against an offense like this. And they're going to get the ball out quick, so I don't know if it's as quick as what ACU is doing, but they have an offense that moves.
I mean, and the other thing too is you got to figure out a way to contain him too, because you last week you can say, well, hey, we sure stopped the Washington State passing attack. Oh, okay, you did, but you gave up 200 yards rushing to a quarterback. I mean, and this, it seems like no matter the regime, This has been a problem for Texas Tech defenses. No matter, you can go back to Lyle Sentencich and Ruffin McNeil, and you can throw in, whomever you wanted to throw in, David Gibbs, anybody. Name, with the exception of John Goodner, okay, go back to Spike Dykes.
Sure.
You have had problems with your defense stopping a quarterback that can run the ball.
Yeah, and you really like these linebackers. You have a young linebacker that was a track star, Dingle. If he's in there, you just spy him on the quarterback. And you also have Rodriguez and Roberts that have been really good when they've played. Roberts was, spectacular as a freshman last year.
Maybe John Curry's the guy that makes some plays, but he's
Lubbock guy, yeah.
He's on the
2 deep
but he's also
questionable.
Questionable, yeah.
You have to have somebody spy the quarterback, get sideline to sideline. Jordan Brooks had a big game last night for the Dolphins. You haven't really had a linebacker like him as athletic sideline to sideline since.
I feel like he's playing on just as successful team as he did for us.
Well, last night certainly against the Bills, and obviously Josh Allen is one of the best in the NFL running the quarterback position, at least with his legs. I just that's going to be a problem, and it's going to be a problem this season. And I think Mateer is really good at it. Morris is not as good, but can run.
What about Quincy Ledet? Could he be a guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of those guys on the defensive line can be guys. You've heard they're guys. You'd like to see them step up. Jaden Cofield is another guy who's got a couple pressures, made a couple plays. You'd like to see him be more consistent.
Okay, we'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage tomorrow morning. It all begins at 7 a.m. with a Saturday morning quarterback. We'll take you all the way up to kickoff, and then after the game, it's a Double T 97.3 Coors Light postgame show. Hopefully happy totals that Rob Breaux will get to report, and I can just sit there calmly and drink a Coors Light and hand out my trinkets. And we'll be over at the Overton after the ball game, so make sure to come by, say hi, smile, and hopefully we'll just have a nice, relaxing, beautiful evening there on the back porch of the Overton. All right?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.